everybody, I'm Abby with This Week Community News, and we are at the Columbus Curling Club, which you can see behind me, and I'm here with Jack Gaynor, who's the president of the Columbus Curling Club. And we are here because I know the Olympics are tomorrow, the opening ceremony is tomorrow, but curling actually happened last night live in Pyeongchang. So we came here to the Columbus Curling Club to learn some of the basics. So Jack, could you please tell us what neighborhood we're in if they've never been here, and what you do here at the Columbus Curling Club?
All right, so we're on the very border of Clintonville and I guess North Linden. Okay. Just off of just the other side of the tracks from Clintonville, just north of Weber Road. Okay. And what we do here is curl. So we have about 185 full-time members, and we curl here. League play is 5 nights a week. Okay. Every night but Friday and Saturday. Wow. And yeah, we've got a total of 9 leagues, and we have a league that's going to be starting here in probably 20 minutes. And we'll have about 50 more people in tonight playing.
Awesome. Perfect. And some of our coworkers are actually behind us here learning how to curl for the first time. This is new to all of us, and so I guess, can you tell people who've never curled before, what are some of the basics of curling? How does a team come together?
Sure. So I guess there's a number of different ways. At the club here, we have a lot of relatively new curlers, and so one of the things, one of the committees that we have, we've been talking about, is we have a league committee. And so new curlers that come in, you don't have to find your own team and everyone signs up. If you actually come in and learn to curl, you take an instructional league, and then once you join a regular league, that committee will help match you up with folks. If you have a friend you want, or like a spouse that you wanted to curl with, you can absolutely do that. They'll try to match you with somebody, if you're not experienced, somebody who's experienced, who can both teach you and help balance things out so that one team doesn't run away with the trophy and everybody else loses. So.
Perfect. And how many, I guess, man hours does it take to learn the basics of curling if you've never done it?
To learn the basics of curling, I'd say you can learn the basics in probably a 2-hour learn to curl session.
Oh, really? Okay.
But in terms of, I mean, you certainly won't be ready for Pyeongchang after that.
That's right.
So before you join a league as a full member, we have a 5-week instructional league, which ends up being about 10 hours on the ice. Okay. And at that point, you'd be eligible here to do it. And a lot of folks will come in; they'll practice on their own as well. We have member practices that instructional folks can come in and do. Okay. And so at that point, then you may not be super experienced curler, but you'll certainly be able to deliver a stone and sweep and know the basic flow of the game.
Okay, perfect. And I know you do have some of those classes coming up, I think either later this month, right? Of the basics, how to learn how to curl.
Yes, we have. We have a number of, and I'm not sure exactly. Some of them are full, I know, but we have a bunch of them that are open. We are actually closing the club down from league play. Okay. 2 weeks after the Olympics, we suspend leagues and we do nothing in the evenings but run learn to curl clinics.
Awesome.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so we'll have there'll probably be about 1,000 slots available for people to come in and learn, and it's always, I mean, it's a good time. It makes a good date night too.
Yeah, so if you want to learn, now is your chance, I guess.
It is an excellent time to do so.
In a couple weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the stones or the rocks? Sure. I'll turn this around here. Okay. Tell us a little bit about these.
Okay, so these stones, they're made out of granite. Okay. Well, the handles are plastic. The stones themselves are granite. They are made out of basically 3 solid pieces, and they are solid granite, so they weigh about 42 pounds. Wow. The stones actually run. They have a handle on them, and they actually run on not very much surface at all. If you see the bolt that holds the handle on is here, there's a ring here. That's really all that the stones run. The only place the stones touch the ice is there. Wow. Okay. And that tiny ring, combined with, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, our sheet of ice here is not completely flat. It's like kind of bumpy. Mm-hmm. That's by design. We put a pebble, basically just rainwater droplets. They go down on the ice, and those 2 things make it so that hardly any of the rock is touching the ice. Okay. And that rock then can travel with just kind of shoving it. It'll go 150 feet all the way to there.
And that's one thing I didn't mention is you guys have been in this building for about 10 years, right?
Yes. I believe it's our 10th season in the building.
And this is considered a full operational Olympic size sheet.
Absolutely, yes. So if you're watching curling on the Olympics, the sheets that they're playing on are the same size as this. Wow. The only difference, there may be some more area behind for maintenance, but other than that, the Olympians throw the same distance we do.
That's awesome. And then you already said that there's 9 different leagues typically, and what time do you typically have the leagues? You have one that's starting at 1 o'clock today.
Yes.
And then what other times are there?
So most of our leagues, they're in the evenings, so kind of after work. So we this year pretty much everything's at 6:30 or 8:30.
Okay.
So those are the two times that you can be playing. We do have one league on Monday this year that plays. They always play at 4:30.
Okay.
And then on Sundays, I think we play at 2, 4, and 6.
Wow.
So,
all right.
Yep.
And are there any certain characteristics that make you a good curler?
So curling is a very interesting sport, in my opinion, because the traditional things that just make you good at sports don't necessarily. If you're 6'4" and 250 pounds and can bench press a back truck, not to say it wouldn't help. You can sweep a lot harder.
Sure.
But flexibility and agility are certainly characteristics that probably are maybe a little more important. Not to say, I mean, I'm not a flexible guy, and I can still throw, so it's not the be all end all.
Right.
But it is interesting that folks, if you have a background in dance, actually those folks seem to pick it up really quickly.
Really?
Just
okay.
because they're really good at balancing.
Huh.
I guess. I don't know if that's true or not.
Who knew?
But,
yeah, that's interesting. Awesome. Well, let's see how our coworkers are doing behind me. So I'll flip it around. Okay. We have Andrew King, one of our reporters, learning how to throw the stone or the rock.
Put that back, you got a lot more stability.
Yeah, it feels a lot better when you get it right.
Yeah. Okay, try it again. Try it again. That's you get close to a field, you want to see if you can keep that field. Get there from the get-go. Back a bit. Bring that left back. How's that? Okay. See how I am? There's kind of how you want to be. Now drive up. Keep it flat. Keep it flat. There you go. There you go. That feels much better. Look better. Feel better?
Yeah.
Jack, a quick question for you. Why would Andrew be practicing with 2 stones or 2 rocks instead of 1 when you're only throwing 1?
Okay, so the first thing we generally have folks do is, because the delivery in curling is kind of like your swing in golf.
Okay.
There are a lot of different facets to it.
Okay.
And any one of those things, before you have the muscle memory, thank you. Before you have that down, it's a lot to all try to focus on. So when we give you 2 rocks to start with, you don't have to worry about having a broom out here, and you also don't have to worry about how much weight you're putting on either.
Okay.
You can just kind of slide out and get a feel for that.
It bounces you out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a rock in either hand. Now, when you're ready to when you're delivering for real, then you'll see folks, and you'll see in the Olympics, they'll usually have a broom out like this, or maybe on the ice. They'll use that kind of as their outrigger to balance themselves. And they'll be leaning, if they have to lean over, they'll be leaning on that so they don't put any weight on the rock and shove it left or right.
Gotcha.
And so when you start off, though, you don't need to worry about that. Practice the slide first and then add everything else.
And that's one thing we didn't even talk about is the 4 different positions. So there's 4 people on a team,
right?
But they have 4 different roles, even though everyone will throw a stone.
Right.
So can you kind of describe the 4 different roles and what they do?
Sure. So an end of curling is basically an inning, and then each team's going to throw 8 rocks.
Okay.
And within a single team, then you have what's called you have a lead, you have a second, you have a vice, and you have a skip.
Okay.
The lead and the second each throw their 2 rocks, and then they sweep the rest of the time.
Okay.
And then the lead will throw the first 2 rocks. The second will throw the second 2 rocks. The vice skip then will throw generally the third set of 2 rocks, and then their job for the first 4 rocks they'll sweep. They'll throw their rocks, and then they'll go to the other end of the ice. Because the skip, the last person, they will generally be standing at the other end of the ice, holding the broom, calling the shots, doing most of the yelling, which is an integral part of the game.
Directing where the stone should go.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when it's their turn to throw their 2 rocks, though, they need somebody to yell at them.
Okay.
And so the vice skip will go down and hold the broom.
Take that role.
Exactly, and take that role.
Okay.
So everyone kind of rotates around.
Okay. And then what Andrew is doing here, that's called the lead, I guess at this point, because he's actually throwing, or not necessarily?
I guess what we'd say what he's practicing is just a delivery.
Okay.
Because everyone's going to throw a rock from the same place. It's just the order that you're throwing them in.
Okay, yeah. And we did take some video of our coworkers learning how to sweep, which is not as easy as you'd think it would be. So we'll have that up for you online. Let's see how Andrew's doing. Practicing again.
Gets up, back. There you go, flat. Okay, much better. That's a good line. Your toe, knee, and rock were a pretty good line there. Okay.
And then, Jack, one other question. I don't know if it's a dumb question, but the Olympic rings on the actual sheet here, does that stand for anything necessarily, or?
Not necessarily. It's really just decoration.
Okay. I didn't know if that meant Olympic size or,
No.
I mean, nothing. Okay. Perfect. So I guess if people want to learn more about the Columbus Curling Club, what should they do? Where should they go?
So I'd say the best place to go would be to columbuscurling.com.
Okay.
That's our website, and we have information about Learn to Curl clinics and a little bit about our leagues and upcoming events. We also do. I think we've had a lot of interest this year, of course. So I don't know how many more slots that we have.
Sure.
We also book corporate outings. So
that'd be fun.
Yeah. So if like a work group wanted to get together and come out, they'll do like kind of like a team building event. You come out and instead of doing like an escape room or whatever, you come out and you learn to curl.
Awesome.
It's sort of I mean, and it usually takes about 2 hours.
Okay.
And then our warm room is available if you wanted to have a business meeting before or after, just as long as we fit in the schedule. So
Awesome.
I know we've had a lot of interest this year, so I can't guarantee that we've got any time left for that. But
Sure, but
it is a thing.
Yes. Okay. So in a couple of weeks, you'll have some lessons for people who've never curled before. If they want to learn.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
We'll have
If
Learn to
they're
Curl
still
clinics.
open.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're but as of just before we went live here, there was definitely still spots available. For
Perfect.
us.
Awesome.
So,
Well, Jack, thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching. And we'll have more videos for you up on our website very soon.